the serpent didn't always uh, crawl around on his stomach and on his belly. Uh, at one time, the serpent, he or she or whatever, but it was a he. Uh, he could talk, and apparently he could talk and walk and talk. Now God said that the serpent was more subtle than anything or any of the animals that God had made and created, or any of the beasts of the field. You read about that in Genesis the 3rd chapter. When the serpent talked to Eve, and Eve talked back to the serpent. So he apparently could talk, and he could walk or whatever. He had legs or something. Now we don't know exactly how the serpent looked before he lost his legs and his ability to talk, but he could talk, and he was some type of a beast, some type of a beast, just like the other beasts of the field. Because God said he was more subtle than the other beasts of the field or anything that God had made. So he was a made creature. He wasn't Satan. Now he was all Satan, but he was not Satan. The serpent is always spoken of as the serpent. He has never be spoken of as Satan. Now Satan is sometimes spoken of as a serpent. Now the reason of that is Satan has that same he's had that same mentality that serpent had, and that serpent had the same mentality that Satan had, but the serpent and Satan was different. Satan has a curse on him, the serpent has a curse on it. Now when you see this thing, these pathetic creatures sliding and slithering around through the grass and through the bushes and the weeds and the trees and whatever, he didn't always go up on his belly. God cursed him and told him up on his belly he would go for the rest of his life. He would lick dust, mean that he would crawl. So it was a physical curse on Adam, and it was a physical curse on Eve. So it was a physical curse on the serpent. Now, if you really look at a snake, all the different types of serpents that there are in the world, man, this is really a pathetic creature. I mean, crawling around and sliding and slithering up on the stuff and all of that. Now, if excuse me, if this was not so, and if this thing always crawled around and was made that way in the first place, it wouldn't be a curse. A curse is some type of impediment or handicap, something that's inconvenient, that's something that you don't like, it's something against you. So if a serpent, if that was his natural nature and the way that he was made, it wouldn't be a curse to him. But this is a curse to him. Now I wonder, I'm a person, I like to ask questions, and I think about this and that and all of this. So I wonder, does this thing, this serpent, he's done this, and he's tricked and seduced Eve and Adam into breaking the law of God and bringing a curse on mankind. And this thing was talking and had a he could talk just like Eve and Adam could talk. Now, when God put a curse on him, I don't. I probably was. It probably was spontaneous. I mean, momentarily, just like that. I guess. I'm not sure. We don't know how it was. But can you imagine? You got your legs and your arms or what have you, and you can talk and walk and whatever, and then just like that, you you got no legs. You got no. You can't talk. Now I to myself I wonder, does this thing have the capacity to know what a pathetic condition that he's in? In other words, can he think? Can he says, man, I wish I could. If I could talk, I would say this or I would say that. I just wish, I wish I don't. I can't. I got no voice. I got no voice box. Uh, I'm not even made like a creature that can talk now. With the way a snake is made, his head and so forth. And but does he have the ability to think, to know that, wow, I'm cursed? You know. Now there was a time in coming up in the New Testament back there in Matthew, I think it was, or maybe one, but all of the books, I think, I'm not sure how many of them spoke of this particular thing when who was that? Ananias, I believe it was. That was the priest. He was supposed to have the. He was supposed to go in and do his priestly duties, and the angel came to him and tell him about his wife going to have a baby, and he didn't believe it. In other words, the father of John the Baptist, and he didn't believe it. And so God said, "Well, I'm gonna since you didn't believe this, I'm gonna fix you where you won't be able to talk until this baby is born." Now he was able to know. He still had all his other faculties. He knew he couldn't talk. He other words, if he wanted to, he still couldn't talk. He had to take a pad and write things down. So he had the ability to know what God had done to him. Now, this is what I'm saying about the serpent. I wonder, does the serpent have the capacity, some kind of mental capacity or brain or thought, that he knows that I want to talk? I used to talk, or my ancestors used to talk. I wish I could talk, but I can't. I don't have anything to talk with, but I can think. And I'm crawling around under leaves and bushes and on the ground and under stuff and down in a hole and slithering around in trees.